Next question on the GM survey, though, was if you're starting a franchise today and could sign any player in the NBA, who would it be? Nikola Jokic, first place with a third of the votes. Victor Wembanyama with 23%. Giannis is third with 13. Luka fourth with 10. Anthony Edwards fifth with 7. And then there's some other players also receiving votes. Steph Curry getting one. Joel Embiid getting one, which is the wildest one here, I think. And then Shea and Tatum were the other two that got one each.
Not that he's not a great player. Why is Jokic so high? Because, like, it's been kind of a joke, and we've brought it up. How long is Jokic playing?
Yeah, see, I think that people...
It's been blown out of proportion. He's not going to retire in 2 years.
Yeah, I think the reason why he's so high is because you could say this more about him than anybody in the league by far. That adding Jokic to your team right now makes you somewhat of a title contender for the next 6 or 7 years.
Also, I would, full transparency, add Jokic for sure. That would be the guy that I pick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more the, like, Wemby is just crazy.
The thing there is, like, yeah, he sets you up for a longer stretch, a longer window probably, but the likeliness of it happening is not guaranteed.
Like it is now.
With Jokic, it's like definitely there. It's proven that he can lead a team to the NBA Finals and beat just about any team that's matching up with him. It's like a surefire pick. And he's not super old. He's only 28, and his game is built to last also.
Yeah, it just depends on if his love of the game is built to last. No, he loves basketball. That's been blown out of proportion, but it's more the
like a lot. But I understand it because I think that's a lot of people that are more NBA casuals, which is a term I've wanted to get away from, but it's just the one that's coming to mind. People who just, aren't nerds about basketball. I think that what they like to think of Jokic as is just like, oh wow, it's crazy that he's the best player in the world and he like doesn't even care about he doesn't even like basketball. So that's what people want to see. I think Jokic, honestly, he likes that that's the narrative about him. And I 100% believe that ever since this finals run and ever since the whole narrative around all of the NBA has become, oh, Jokic is the best player on the planet, he doesn't even like basketball. Ever since then in interviews, he's been saying things that he just never said before.
He just leaned into it. Just
exactly.
To get, and I was going to say it's the interviews. Even before, he just isn't the stereotypical guy of like, I love ball. And even if he does, he doesn't convey it in the same way that other people, and that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that's just for the person that doesn't consume every bit of basketball, that just sees like random, oh, that guy's the MVP. That's the best dude on the planet.
Yeah.
He just is like talking about horses after they asked him a question about his basketball philosophy.
Yeah. I think the reason why, because I think in American culture, we really link personal ambitions with like your drive in basketball. Like we think those are kind of like the same thing. But to him, I feel like that's always been the difference. Like when he's asked questions about his personal ambitions or goals or what he's striving for or like things like that, he's just always like, I don't know. I don't think about that. I just play basketball. Questions about competitiveness in like certain matchups with other players or who's the best player on the planet, who's the best player on his own team even. He's always said like, I don't think it's safe to call me the best player on the Nuggets because sometimes I'm the best player, but sometimes Jamal's the best player. Sometimes MPJ's the best player. Like, and that's just, I don't know. I think that type of thing is why people started to get that narrative in the past and also just how much he likes to talk about home and stuff like that. But then I feel like once he started to see that become the narrative, now he's like, oh yeah, I didn't touch a basketball all summer, saying things like that, kind of leaning into it. But yeah, that's my theory at least, because I know from conversations and interviews that he has had in the past where it's like purely about the schematics of the game and like what he sees as like the beauty of basketball. When he's talking about that, he lights up and like he's more engaged than he ever has been in interviews talking about that kind of thing. You can tell he really does care about basketball and he enjoys it.
And it's just the thing that's got blown out of proportion. And I get that totally makes sense. Also the window, like it's now. It's like a now window thing.
For sure.